This is a book review. Homecoming by Cynthia Voigt and Dicey's Song, and I'm going to try to read more books in that series, the Tillerman series. What I wanted to say about that is this author, I want to say you can find these books in the children's section, probably young adults. So for sure it's light reading for an adult. But these books are so special. And if I understand correctly, they are not necessarily based on a true story, but it brings back memories for me, and I almost didn't even want to read that one when I got started on it. Okay, so I got started on it, and it's about 4 kids, and their mom leaves them in the mall parking lot. And so it's very much a complex and intriguing, very interesting story about, the mental health of the mother, but also about the resilience of all 4 of the children, the oldest being a 13-year-old girl and the youngest being a little girl. And each of the characters is so well developed. And even if I could recite every single bit of the book just in this, not retelling, but I'm just trying to I don't do a lot of book reviews, so it's more or less like a book review. But even if I told you just everything about it, you still should go try, just see if you feel like reading these books. There's no way I could do justice in a book review. But anyway, so as far as my memories and my YouTube channel and why did, this book hit me in the feelings and whatever, my mother would not say this, but in real life, my mother was so strong emotionally. In a couple days, it'll be 40 years since she died, and I was 14, so I was barely older than the oldest protagonist. I'd say she is the protagonist of the series, but anyway, so it hit me there, because even though my mother died from breast cancer that metastasized, so she definitely, it wasn't a mental health thing with her. She was very, very strong and just a beautiful person and an excellent mother. I do feel like my younger siblings and I got 5 younger, I do feel like we have a lot of resilience, and we always have. And I've always felt like my dad is what I call a survivor. And he's great at that. And I kind of hope and consider myself similarly a survivor. But what's interesting about these books, and sometimes because of your life experiences or your thoughts or your education, you may pick up a book and it may have a lot more meaning, deeper meaning. You may connect with a book way more than the next person, or way more than you will with the next book. So this series, I've just started on the 2nd book of the series, and I've been getting them from the library. Just phenomenally written. I think looks like this one was National Book Award finalist. Homecoming by Cynthia Voigt. I don't know if that's how you say her name. And the one I've finished this one, and the one I'm working on now is Dicey's Song. And these kiddos, they don't have a lot of family, and the oldest girl keeps grabbing a map, and they do some walking, and they make it to their family. And it's not a like, oh, here's a happy ending story. It is, but it's complicated, and it is from their perspective. And that's not giving anything away. You've just got to read these books. They are so phenomenal. Yeah, so I've really been enjoying that. And a few years back, I don't know, 10 or 15, maybe 20 years ago, I remember having an epiphany because I kind of sort of had this, I was too busy to wallow in it, but I had this tiny little bit of a feeling like, oh, poor me, my mom died when I was young. And I had this epiphany. I was like, well, first of all, she wouldn't want me to be like missing her forever to that magnitude, or feeling, I don't want to say young or immature, because you always miss your parent or your loved one if they go before you. But I had just had kind of an epiphany, like, hey, you're not, a victim. You can be strong, you can be successful, you can enjoy life and have a good time and help others. Some people use the term pay it forward. You can do that too. You can share your time, your knowledge, your education, share your skills and your joys and your love. I guess that's the wildest book review I've ever done and you'll ever hear, because I don't know that I do them too often. But this series definitely will probably have you thinking about family. And when I first started reading, I was like, do I really? Because it's got me, remembering life as a young person, and it wasn't always easy and it wasn't always fair. And then I was like, oh my goodness, these kids, the things they do in this book. And even myself, considering myself a survivor for so many reasons. I've also survived breast cancer. But I think I would struggle to do some of the things that they do. And I have camping in wilderness and camping in the winter. I have all that kind of experience. But these little ones, for example, will find a place on their journey. They have no money to speak of, so they'll find a place, and they know how to get a little fire started, to cook whatever little fish they caught. And it's not that simple, because you can imagine they have to, in this case, they acquire matches, which helps them, but they have to find a location. They have one little fella that he's good at fishing and he's patient, and the character, the values, the integrity, but just the character description of these 4 children and the other people in their lives, or that they run into temporarily or longer term. Just very, very well developed characters and very well developed situations. I highly recommend the Tillerman series by Cynthia Voigt. Specifically, I have completed reading Homecoming and Dicey's Song. Have a great day.